And we're live. We are live. Happy Wednesday and good afternoon or good morning to our audience out there. I am so excited to host this live with Edina Hamilton, who I've been getting to know over the last few months. She is incredible. She's actually one of the most amazing people I know. I mean, seriously, she's like, the things that she does with her body are simply mind-boggling. And I remember the first time I saw Edina in pictures and I was like, is that real? Could that be real? Because guys, she is a professional contortionist, and the positions you just wouldn't even, blow you away. So you're going to have to check out her social pages after this and check her out. She's amazing, but we're going to get into her story a little bit today, and how she came into this profession, this sport, and then a little bit about the role that nutrition plays in that, because she is as committed, and I mean, this is like, she takes this seriously. So if you're just joining the live, please let us know where you're tuning in from, and if you're watching the replay, please put replay in the comments. Please feel free to share this information. We're going to share some very valuable information with you today, and something that either you may benefit from or someone you know. So please tag your friends, comment below, and we will get back to each and every one of you. We promise. We want to keep this interactive. So with that, Edina, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm a contortionist. I started this profession very professionally about 10 years ago. It was always kind of sporadic in movement, but it wasn't until about, I'm not 100% sure about the exact time, but 8 or 10 years ago, where I decided firmly that I was going to make this a career. And no, I was not flexible naturally. That's a common misconception. Everybody thinks that, if you can do incredible things with your body, you must have always been flexible, predisposed to flexibility, or started early. And I actually started my flexibility journey at about age 20.
Wow. See, that's mind-boggling to me, because I guess that's another one of the myths that I always thought. If you want to be flexible, you have to start very early, at a very early age. So at 20, you're fully formed, fully developed, you're a full-fledged adult, and you started your flexibility journey at that point. So that's incredible. Now, you want to share what led you to get into flexibility, to really take stretching to a whole new level?
Yeah, it was a few things. So one of them was mental health reasons. At the time, I was very, very depressed. I was going through a big transformation in my life. I took a big leap of faith and dropped out of university. So I was at McGill University in social work. I was an honor roll student 2.5 years in, and I had a major depression. Something about the path I was headed in didn't feel right. I also went through a major breakup. Things at home were very difficult because it was shortly after my brother's death. So there were just so many things going on. And I took a lot of courage to drop out of university because I didn't receive the approval of my parents at first. And I also had no direction of where I was going. And so a movement was really what got me out of the house, because I did spend 6 months that year in the house. I didn't go anywhere. So I was very isolated, very depressed. I got on antidepressants. But another factor that got me into this movement was that I was fed up of chronic pain and not being able to have normal range of movement, because at the age of 14, I had a flare up in my knees, and I basically couldn't do anything normal with my body anymore. I couldn't straighten my legs or bend my legs fully because of the severe inflammation in my knees. And some days I couldn't walk. So I was dealing with this throughout my life. But around 18, when I decided to drop out of university, that's when the inflammation was really bad. And by then I had been on a host of medication for 4 years. Wow. Which at the time I had no idea about gut health. So of course, taking high doses of injections and steroids and other inflammatory inhibitors definitely screw with the gut and mental health. So even though I had external factors contributing to mental health, my internal health was out of whack completely. And so for mental health reasons, I got into movement, but then also for physical reasons, I hated having this physical limitation. And I just started practicing movement in my room. And one of the first things I tried to do was just to get my ankle to cross over my other ankle. So if you have your legs straight out, imagine just trying to put your ankle on your ankle. It's hardly a knee bend. And that to me was the biggest challenge to do. What helped me get through these stretches every single day was breath work and meditation. So in this journey of stretching, I started to challenge myself every day to push myself a centimeter further and just breathe through the pain and hold it for as long as I can, as long as felt appropriate for me. And eventually I was able to fully cross my legs. That took me about 3 months to be able to do. And I consistently stretched for 4 months, for 6 months, 4 hours every single day. Wow. And the reason why it was 4 hours was because I entered into a state of meditative trance, which I found was very incredible. Such a great feeling to escape the body for a little bit and just pass into a state of timelessness. So that definitely helped my mental health. But then I noticed when I was holding these positions and stretching them for that length of time, usually with the mantra on and like 25 candles, I would notice that when I'd come back into my body and my awareness, I was 2 inches, 3 inches deeper in the stretch. And I started to realize that in a certain state of mind, with a certain practice of breath, we're actually capable of doing so much more and going so much further than what we allow ourselves to do or what we think we're capable of doing. And it got me to realize that what doctors were telling me was not true, because a lot of doctors were telling me that my condition was very chronic and severe, that my range of motion would forever be limited, that I should be very cautious about movement and not push myself very hard. And now I was doing the complete opposite of all of that and seeing that I was able to build on my range of motion. And not only that, after these 4-hour stretches, I felt physically good. I felt mentally clear and happy because the endorphins are released. And also I noticed most times than not, the inflammation actually went down a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think
it's just, to me, what's so amazing. So you went from like not being able to cross your ankles to 4-hour stretching sessions in a meditative state.
Yeah.
I think that is just so mind-boggling. So would you say that you felt an alignment between your mind and your body as you were pushing yourself past your barriers, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I mean, it was an interesting state to be in because simultaneously I felt like I escaped my body, because when you're meditating and you're breathing, you just stop being yourself and you just leave into this state of, timelessness. But at the same time, I also felt eternally connected to my body, but connected to myself on a whole new level, not connected to my dis-ease or this state of emotion that I was in, but more connected to that deeper part of who we are, the one that's thinking about us thinking, the one behind everything.
Interesting. Okay. So, you kind of outlined how and why you got into this, but then you took it to the whole new level because it went from at some point it went from hobby to profession. So at what stage did that shift happen for you?
So I've always been a very intuitive person, and I follow my intuition. I follow dreams. Sometimes I'll have a dream, an impulse. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll go out and I'll call the person, or I'll buy the tool that I need to get to that. So I work very much on an intuitive, emotional basis. So one of the reasons for dropping out of university was that I was depressed. And then I went through a period of feeling lost, which movement helped me get through. And then through this movement, I had wicked things happen. Like, I still wasn't going out and socializing. I wasn't going to parties, right? So I'm doing this very intense practice at home on my own. And I remember one specific morning, I must have had a dream, but I sat up in my bed, like I shot up, and I said out loud, I said, I need to do something with this, because I recognized that I was building on these exceptional skills, and now I was able to, get my legs over and get my feet to touch my head. And I was like, I got to do something with this. And I didn't know what I was going to do, again, because I'm feeling lost. And I open up my laptop and I go on Facebook, and I have 2 messages from 2 people I've never met before. One of them is asking me if I'm interested in participating in a contact dance parade. I have no experience in contact dance. Okay. And then there's another one who's asking me if I was interested in doing an audition for these events in Montreal. And there are these very creative, open-minded events, an opportunity to literally perform anything that my heart desires. And so I responded to these 2 people. I went and I did the parade. I went in for the audition with Frank from Frank Mondeos. He was throwing all these parties at Monde Ossé. Most people probably know about it if you're from Montreal. And I succeeded at the audition, and he gave me the opportunity. And through him, I started performing in Montreal.
Wow. I mean, that is just absolutely incredible. Clearly, there was a succession of decisions that you made. I heard that word, or forms of the word, as you were describing both your story and your journey, a decision to, not be in depression, and to start moving, and to push yourself, mentally, physically, and then a decision to, like, I need to do something with this skill I had. I think that's what you said. I need to turn, this into an actual, like profession. So you dedicated yourself to as a professional. What do you do professionally as a contortionist?
So my career as a contortion definitely went through many stages. So in the beginning, it was just performing at these side events, small paying gigs. But eventually, it started to form and develop much more. And it wasn't until 10 years after that I decided to really make a career out of this. So instead of doing these small time events, I wanted to excel at my skills and actually get into corporate. So that's a very different world. Corporate entertainment obviously is much more professional. It pays significantly more. And so basically people contact me for weddings, any kind of events. It could be parades, birthdays, fundraisers, and I just present them with, the 3 different acts that I offer. So one of them is contortion. The other one is hand balancing mixed with contortion. So I do like hand balancing on canes. Okay. One of my acts is a performance on canes on a table. So I start at about 6 feet high. Mm-hmm. And then I also do pole acrobatics. And so I do like a variety of shows within that point, and I just deliver that at corporate events.
Oh my God, you're amazing.
At this point, I'm freelance, but to get to this level of, professional, I had to really start taking even greater steps. And so one of the biggest steps I ever took was going to Mongolia alone for a month. I've never traveled alone anywhere before. And I went to Mongolia to one of their circus schools, and I was stretched beyond my wildest dreams. Like I was stretched physically to a point of pain and exhaustion like I've never experienced before. Still, but in Mongolia, like in China, like in Russia, the way they stretch people is not the way we stretch here in Canada. So
wow. I don't know. I'm getting a vision of it, and I'm seeing a lot of pain in that.
And so my normal schedule is training about 4 to 5 times a week. It used to be 7 days a week, but now I do it significantly less. That's just because I have so many other things that I manage, and I'm coaching now. Mm-hmm. But also my quality of stretching when I do stretch it has much more focus and depth. So because the quality of my workouts are better, I can spare a day or two off. And I've learned over the years too that rest days are essential. I used to be much harder on myself and not take those rest days. And I paid for it with my mental health and my physical health. So now there's a better balance. But definitely I train between 4 to 5 days a week. I see a coach once to twice a week because she pushes me physically more than I can push myself. Mm-hmm. And so it takes a lot.
That is so amazing. Okay, so you're the first professional contortionist I've ever made. I'm just fascinated by it's always my favorite part of and I've been to so many different like Cirque du Soleil shows and circuses and all that stuff. And it's always just my favorite part. I don't know why. I just love the contortionist. They're always just so amazing what they can do with their bodies. But there is an element of, it's not just flexibility. There's an element of strength of what you do as well. Because I've seen you do these poses and you're balancing, and that takes a tremendous amount of strength. Right. So you want to just share just briefly what the strength element of what you do. How do you keep in shape strength wise to hold these poses?
So absolutely. Another misconception about contortion is that we just are flexible and we kind of just flop or bend into these flexible positions. And actually contortion is all strength. Just like ballet, they look delicate and fragile, and it's all strength. It's the strength that makes it look so easy. In contortion, it's the strength that allows us to actually bend and hold those bends into that position. So the body won't naturally just bend that way. If it does, you've broken a spine, you've torn a ligament if something is just kind of hanging there. Right. So for you to be able to put yourself in that position, you need to have the flexibility. So the muscle has to be stretched long enough to be able to have that range of motion. But now that muscle also has to be extremely strong to be able to pull or push in that position. Yeah. So a lot of things that I do for strength is just consistent strength conditioning. So repetition of all those moves. But up until recently, I found out about these super aminos, actually. Oh,
well, you know what? That brings us to our next segment, which is the nutrition part. And that's perfect segue, because you know what you do is so highly physical. And I know there's, obviously there's a huge mental component to it as well. But physically it's demanding. And if you don't have nutritional support, then I don't think you're going to be able to effectively or as effectively do what you do. So you have, I know it's has it always been a part of your training, or is this something recently that you've stepped up as far as the nutrition side?
This is a whole new level of me since Purium.
Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, so I didn't know that. So you're an athlete. I'm going to say you're an athlete because what you do is, I put that up there with the best athletes in the world. And so now you're bringing in the nutrition component through superfood nutrition. Do you want to just talk about what that has done for your training and your performance? Have you really seen a difference with a shift in your nutrition?
Oh, yeah. So before I get into that, I just want to take away the misconception that I feel like most people see what I do. And then I talk about the supplements that I'm taking. And then there's this big gap between their level of fitness and my level of fitness. And they go, well, that's great that it works for you, but I could never do what you do. So these super aminos that I take help me with my strength and my fitness, and they can help anyone reach their goals, whatever those goals are. Yeah. So, I have dealt with so much chronic pain and inflammation and physical limitation. The only difference between me and any regular person is the fact that I put in so much time and consistency. Yeah. So, if that's not you, if you're not striving to get handstands or flexibility or be a contortionist, but you just want to be able to do a single push-up or maybe 5, or just maybe have that energy for your workouts, I highly recommend the super aminos, because that's going to take you to the next level of your fitness training. And I keep trying to get through to people about that. But being where I am as a performer, sometimes it creates this distance, this gap, which is understandable. So to break it down, I really started taking these super aminos consistently about 2.5 months ago. And gradually I've been increasing my dose because I listened to some of the science on these super aminos, and I realized that I can take more. So now before any of my like intense training sessions, I'll take 10. I used to take 5.
Okay.
And to compare where I've been to where I am now, I'll start with chin-ups because that's one of the hardest things ever. Everyone sees all the crazy shit that I do, handstands, contortion, and I've been doing it for 10 years. And I've progressed in my strength, but there's been a steady, somewhat slow progression, right, over the years. And with chin-ups, I've always been stuck at 2.5 or 3 chin-ups.
Okay.
Like for the last 10 years, I could maximum do 3, max. And I started taking these super aminos, and I just noticed that once I took them, I had all this focus, this mental clarity, and I felt like jacked. I felt like ready to do something. So I run into my chin.
Yeah.
I get on my chin-up bars, and I start pulling, and I just made it a point that every single week, I'm going to work on my chin-ups. Some weeks I did it 3 times a week. Other weeks, I just only had time to do it once. So it wasn't like it was a consistent intensity, but it was just every week I worked on it somewhat. And what I noticed is from week to week, I was able to increment by 1 chin-up.
Wow.
So I've been stuck at 3 chin-ups for the last 10 years.
Wow.
And I've on the super aminos for 2.5 months, and I can now do 8 chin-ups. And I do 3 of those sets.
Wow, that's truly amazing. And you know, I'm chuckling when you say jacked because I totally understand what there's a certain level of, I don't know, it just feels like unstoppable when you're taking these, like you feel, you know, you ever feel your own strength? You know what I mean? Like you can, like, you feel your power. Like it's a crazy feeling, but I know what you're saying because, and the pump, I mean, I feel the difference exponentially. So I've been taking these aminos almost 10 years now. So right around the time you started training, I started taking these aminos, and I've done from strength training to HIIT training to endurance sports. And now in my mid 40s, you know, what happens is that it gets harder and harder to build lean muscle. You know, we start losing lean muscle mass naturally over the course of time, starting in our mid 30s. And, you know, by the time a lot of people have gotten into their mid 40s or 50s, 60s, like they could be at a considerable less amount of lean muscle than they were, you know, 10, 20, 30 years ago. And it gets harder to build new lean muscle. And so that's where nutrition really comes in. So these aminos now, let's just for a minute talk about these aminos, because I agree, they're a game changer. So the efficiency of these aminos, first of all, they're a 99% net nitrogen utilization. So I always get this question, well, how many equivalent grams of protein are in each tablet of Super Amino 23? And the answer is, and I gotta clarify this because the question has come up so many different times and there's different answers. The answer is 2.5 grams per tablet. 2.5 grams per tablet. So when you take your 10 tablets, you are actually getting the equivalent of 25 grams of protein. Now, you may think that, well, that sounds like not a lot. I mean, it's a fair amount. I think 20 to 30 grams is a fair amount. But here's what you got to remember about these aminos. They have a 99% net nitrogen utilization. That means they're 99% efficient in how our bodies actually process these amino acids. So whereas most proteins, animal, even some plant proteins, are maybe 20, 30, 40%. You might have some more efficient ones like pea protein and hemp protein that might be in the 60 or 70 or 75% range of efficiency, but they all have a waste factor. The Super Amino 23 is 99% efficient. So that means you get almost 100% of the protein molecule. So when they work, and they work fast, right? Because they're called super amino 23 because they start absorbing in the body within 23 minutes. And we have the clinical peer-reviewed studies, over 30 peer-reviewed studies on these aminos that show how quickly and effectively they start working and feeding muscle cells. And not only muscle cells, all the cells in our body. So not only for strength and lean muscle, but you know what? Our skin needs protein. It's our largest organ. That's how it produces collagen. Otherwise, we get saggy skin. We get, our skin becomes wrinkled. I call it facelift in a bottle because it literally not only does it lifts and it tightens the skin, is what it does. It creates that collagen, that healthy, natural, internal collagen to keep the skin pliable and elastic so it looks younger. So, people are, all these expensive surgeries and plastics and all these different things. You can create an incredible effect with pure nutrition. And so these aminos, whether you're a professional athlete, or you're just a soccer mom, or you're just someone who is a weekend fitness warrior, goes out for a couple of bike rides and walks, no matter what your level of activity is, you're going to see an improvement in that, in your mental acuity, your lean muscle mass, and it's what fuels metabolism as well. So if you want to get leaner, you gotta have a clean protein source to build that lean muscle. And of course, if you're at your level, you're going to see an incremental improvement in your performance. And that what you've in just 2.5 months, that's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the improvements in my strength. I feel it. Every single week I'm doing something extra that I haven't done the week before, whether it's with flexibility or an extra push-up or an extra contortion push-up. It's basically when I'm doing a handstand push-up with my legs curled around and my feet on my head. If any of you have seen that, it's wild. I'm working on being able to push up from the ground into a handstand. So I noticed the physical changes, like the energy change, but also physical changes. I'm like muscle woman now. My body's much more cut. My skin is more tight. I've never felt more fit and beautiful in my body. The appearance of how my body is forming is incredible.
I just think it's so phenomenal. I mean, you can see your arms, or you can see the definition. And guys, go check out her pictures, guys. She is like shredded when she's doing these poses. Like, you can see the muscle. Okay, this is vegan protein. It's just so powerful. And I wish more people knew about it. Back in the 80s and the 90s, when I started training, it was all we had back then was like inefficient. We had whey proteins, animal proteins, and we thought that was the best of what we had back then. But we've evolved from that point. The research is showing now the plant proteins, and in particular, these super aminos, there's nothing like it. They are game changers.
My favorite thing about the super aminos is that I'm able to get that protein, energy, endurance, efficiency without having to put a load on my gut.
Yes.
So one of the major key factors in my training is training on an empty stomach. I used to train for 3 hours fasting. And that had its benefits, but sometimes I found it was difficult to sustain depending on the day. I might be tired, or I might just be really freaking hungry. And I'm going into this training experience feeling hungry, which is very distracting, or just kind of burning out because I don't have energy that day. So I could, succeed at my workout or fail depending on where I was at with fasting. And then I would try different things like eat protein maybe 2 hours before and allow myself to digest for 2 hours. And I found I was still sluggish and slow, feeling tired. So I've been able to find a really good system with Purium, because what I do is 23 minutes before my training, I take the super aminos. So I get that power, focus, and endurance. And then I make sure to mix my power shake, which is basically this stuff right here, all organic superfoods, full of active enzymes, vitamins and minerals, right? But it's just liquid. Yeah. So it's really easy throughout my training to just take a sip and take a sip. And that's all that I consume during my training. So I definitely put in my ionic elements as well to get over 60 minerals. I take the super aminos. And that's it. So for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, I'm just training on the super aminos and the power shake. And it's just the best compromise because my system is not overloaded with food. I'm not busy digesting a huge source of protein or even, vegetables or fruits. So I have that high efficiency energy on an empty stomach. And also with contortion, all of that bending and folding and I can't have a gut full of food because when I'm doing those really intense back bends, I am actually stretching my organs.
Yeah.
I can definitely eat and stretch. A lot of people wonder how the hell I can do that. I can eat like a full-on sandwich and then go into a contortion pose. But for training in efficiency, energy, strength, endurance, and focus, and also proper breathing, I need to have pretty much nothing in my gut. So the super amino gets me the protein without having to eat anything.
Okay, so I hope everyone, if we have athletes out there watching this, you need to know how important. She said a very key word there, which is efficiency. Okay, we're in a protein crazed society where bigger is better, more is better, and that's not the case because if you're not working, efficiency plays a huge part in any athletic sport. You got to be efficient as an athlete, and your nutrition has to be efficient. So what she's doing is she is getting the benefit of the nutrition in very few calories. Think about this. Listen to this carefully. That is giving her the energy to power through these extremely intense workouts. Okay, where she's pushing her body beyond the limitations of what she would normally, or what a person would normally think they could do. So efficiency. I want you guys to remember that efficiency in your training, efficiency in nutrition, less waste. You're doing more with less, and that creates the effect. So that's why it works, whether you're doing the ULT, the ultimate lifestyle transformation, or you're using these highly efficient protein blends as a professional athlete, or just someone who's trying to put on a little more lean muscle, be stronger, be healthier, look younger. Efficiency is key.
And that's why I think this is great for just anybody, because let's say you're trying to lose weight and you want to go for that jog. Now you can get more efficient nutrients without, putting all that stuff into your gut. And so you're running out and you have all this energy to do your fitness, whether you're jogging or going to the gym, and you're also burning calories. So you're losing weight. So this is really great for weight loss, and this is really great system to have for your morning fitness. It could be an excellent ritual where you just get in the key nutrition, go out and do your workout, burn all those calories. And if you do that consistently every day, you will lose weight.
Yeah, and I just want to distinguish too between weight loss and fat loss, because what this essentially forces your body to do, instead of going to your muscle cells for energy, it's forcing it, because it's getting fed from the aminos, it's forcing it to tap into specifically fat stores for energy. Okay, so people think, well, because some people they don't want to lose weight, right? They may want to maintain their weight, or even put on some, not just weight, the right kind of weight, that lean muscle mass weight, because it achieves that look that you're looking for. Okay. So this will force your body to release the right kind of energy, the fat stores. Okay. And that's tricky to do, because when you consume a lot of proteins, you also are consuming, a lot of times you're consuming carbohydrates, you're consuming fat, a lot of fat, right? So on one hand, you're trying to force your body to tap into fat stores. And on the other hand, you're actually increasing your fat stores. So Super Amino 23 really has no calories. It has no fat. It has no carbohydrates. It's like just the pure building blocks of protein. And they're pre-digested. So they're already halfway broken down. So you could take these right before bed. Like your body is there. It just can so easily break them down, and they start working almost immediately. So
I noticed that I lost a lot of fat on my body and inflammation, but I built a lot of muscle. So I don't feel frail. I don't feel, too skinny or anything. In fact, right now I kind of feel like the Hulk.
Yeah, no, I don't want to mess with you. You're like you said, jacked. You're jacked.
I'm jacked.
Yeah.
I'm chiseled. The fat is no longer part of my life. The inflammation is significantly low, if non-existent most of the time, which is fantastic. So I think half of the weight that I lost was inflammation and the other half was fat. And then I started to really build muscle mass, which is really great to see. And
that's so amazing.
It's not just a muscle I'm developing that you can physically see, but it actually does something.
Yeah.
It works. These new muscles that I'm building, they actually work to my advantage.
Oh man, so amazing. And I know we said we're going to go about 15 minutes, but you know what? This was so good. This was so good. I felt it was important that we give our audience a little bit more today. So, guys, if you're out there, if you're hearing Edina's story, if there's something that she said that resonated with you, please check her out, follow her. How can people find you what are your social handles where they can find you?
Yeah, so people can reach me personally on Facebook, Edina Tree,
Okay.
or Silikacircusarts is my Facebook page.
Okay.
And then Silica_contortion is my Instagram page as well. So people can find me there. And if anyone wants to get in touch and get more information, or if you are just ready to try these Aminos or any of these health food products that I'm doing, I definitely have a discount link for you, and you get between $50 to $100 off, depending on what you're purchasing. So you have that advantage.
Yeah, and I believe you offer some personal coaching and mentorship as well with anyone who orders through you. You kind of guide them through the process as you've been. You're not just
essential.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anyone to just buy the product and then figure it out for themselves. If you're buying any of these, I want to be a support and help you, because I've been experimenting, taking it different ways, different doses, seeing what works best with fitness. And I can definitely guide you on the best way to optimize your training and to get the most efficiency out of the product that you purchased.
Mad respect for the way you're going about this. You're not just promoting something that you haven't used or tried. You use these superfoods in your training every single day. And I know that because, we talk and interact a lot, and I see you, so that's just so awesome. So you're really able to give the people that you coach and mentor through this process firsthand experience. So please check out Edina's social pages and her handles, and check out some of her pictures if you're in the Montreal area and you want to have I wish you were here in South Florida, because man, I'd hire you for something. I don't know what, but like that, what an amazing show that would be to have someone like her come in and perform something that people would never forget. They'll never forget that.
It's true.
That's such a unique skill. But listen, I wish you tremendous success. And I am so happy that you've found this optimal nutrition, and that you're taking your training and your fitness results to the next level now. And I'm just so happy that you're part of our mission as well. And we appreciate having you tremendously. And we're just so grateful to be partnered up with you. So thank you tremendously.
Thank you so much, Eric, for having me.
Absolutely. We'll have to do this again. Part 2 coming, coming soon.
I can't wait for that. I've got so much.
I know. This is a lot of fun. Well, listen, have a great day. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and look forward to catching up with you soon. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.